Hello, this is Joe Cool for Brie Larson Worldwide.
Hi, I'm Brie Larson. Oh, God. Hi, I'm Brie Larson.
Alright, today I want to talk to you about
My
what
channel
everybody
is
is
Marvel,
talking about. It's
originally from
about
nothing.
Brie's new
Just
channel.
randomly from the algorithm clicked on this, but regardless, hello, I'm starting a YouTube channel. Why am I starting a YouTube channel? Great question. YouTube has been a place
We're
that
very happy for
I've
her.
wanted
We
to
think
post
this is a great
whether
way
it's
to
for
know
fun
her and to know all the causes that
or
she
if you
supports.
want to
We have learned
connect
so much with
with
her
your
Instagram
audience.
transmissions,
This is
and
like
I think
the
it
place
was
to
simply
talk
the
about
logical
things that
next
I think
step.
are important and that matter. It doesn't mean that there isn't also silly content, that there's ways for me to express myself personally, but
By the way, English is not my native language, so I apologize in advance for any odd things that may
so
happen
with all
in
that
my
said,
speech
the
today.
following
I'm doing
video
my best.
is just me getting warmed up and feeling this out and getting to talk with a lot of really brilliant, awesome creators. So here it is. I did watch it. And
Unfortunately, this is not the main focus of today's editorial. We want to focus on the hard beast that are her haters and that they are doing everything in their power to harass Brie and to try to get her out of YouTube. The reasons are more complex than what some may think. It's not only jealousy, even if there is a touch of that. She's successful, she's rich, she's beautiful, and she's talented. And that may call for envy on a number of people. But that's not, as a matter of fact, that's not the core of this, not even the surface of the problem. Let's see what this girl, the Star Wars girl, has to say.
Like I said in the video, she's got every right to do whatever the heck she wants to do. You know, she's
That's comforting.
a white woman in America. She can do whatever the heck she wants. But, and this is the big one, but maybe just because you're physically capable of doing something doesn't necessarily mean you should.
Going to be doing like social
Alright,
activism stuff.
let's see what she's doing, this white woman. Let's see what she's doing with her privileges, should we?
YouTube channel.
Yeah, because I think that it's about being myself. If I think about too like what my days are like, especially right now, it's like having Zoom calls with different activists, intaking a lot of information, having tough conversations. I'm a white woman with privilege and a platform, so it just doesn't make any sense to me to like just make it all about me the whole time.
I mean, genuinely, I think the platform needs more activism and it needs more loud voices, especially people with large platforms already beyond that. So I think that it's a great opportunity for you to start sharing your story through other people's stories. I know that I personally would enjoy that. I think the platform's lacking in that.
I follow you on Instagram, and I think what you're doing is amazing, talking about important matters and stuff. I think that would be awesome to transition onto YouTube because, girl, there is like so much drama on YouTube. People focus on so much tea all the time. They just want tea, drama here. We need.
Alright, so the Star Wars girl claims that she saw Brie's video entirely. If that's true, then why she never addressed this? Why is she so eager to uh, put the idea on the public that Brie is just a spoiled girl using her benefits just for herself? Either she didn't watch the video or she's lying, but that's just the beginning of everything.
She's going, ah, Nikki, ah! Even though it's like, okay, this picture that she posted on Twitter right here that I'm using as my example. In this picture, she's got her hand over her face, her eye is closed, but in this, her eye is obviously open, and it looks like she's pushing the button, but then somebody is taking a picture of them. So obviously, she's not an independent YouTuber doing this on her own. She doesn't know the struggle of having to, go through and do your own research, of going through and editing everything yourself after you've done your research, you've sat down, you've recorded, you're putting it all together, you figure out what works with the algorithm, you've got...
Damn, Star Wars girl, it looks like you work a lot. Everybody works a lot. Everybody works. And you have no idea, first, of what is the actual work that Brie is doing. You think she's just discussing gossip all day like you do? No, she's doing research. She has to prepare to talk about the subject that she handles in Instagram, and surely that she will handle in YouTube. But also, Brie wasn't always in this position that she has. She has worked a lot about that. She wasn't privileged her whole
your
life.
thumbnail down. You've, written everything in the description so that way it's findable again with the algorithm and all that stuff. She doesn't have to do any of that. She didn't have to wait until she got 100,000 subscribers to get verified like I did or other.
These guys always play victim. They think they are so regular people, so humble, right? And they are always trying to get their audience to be resentful of the ones who had more than they do. Let's see how
people that have reached that milestone.
See how Brie, how privileged she was.
I have no experience of that. You're not a mother, right? But I read somewhere that you and your mom and your sister lived in LA in a small place. Because it wasn't as small as room, I'm assuming.
No, I think it was probably, I mean, it's tough to remember because I was like 7, so space is hard to, spatialization is weird at 7.
But it didn't seem confined?
It was small.
Yeah.
It was small in its size. It was small enough that there was no room for a bed. The bed was like a Murphy bed. It came out of the wall, and if the bed was down, then there was no room for anything else. And we had like a couple pieces of clothing each, and I think my sister and I each had like a toy.
A toy?
Yeah, and we lived off of like instant noodles and like cans of beans, like very cheap, simple things. But I never felt like I was lacking in any way. Like it's the time that we still look back on as the time of our lives. I felt so much freedom. My mom was not working. She was just our mom, so I had her all to myself. And my mom has an incredible imagination, and so everything was a game, everything. And the Murphy bed popped up, and there was a mirror on the back of it, and the mirror was so cool because I could like dance and I could see myself, and we could bounce around on the bed. The whole floor was a trampoline. Like there was so much to it that I really felt like I was the luckiest kid in the world.
Countless.
So Brie wasn't always that privileged, but she's not resentful either. She's not bitter. Why are you so bitter, Anna, from the Star Wars girl? What's your problem?
YouTubers have. She doesn't. It's one of those things where, yeah, she basically was like, oh, I'm Brie Larson, I'm against white privilege, but she's basically I wouldn't say this is necessarily just white privilege, but she's using her celebrityness to get ahead in the world.
Okay, let's see how she's using her celebrityness to get ahead in the world. Shall we?
A lot of people that feel forgotten, feel disregarded, feel that they've just been disposed of, or that their community, their country has given up on them. So if you could just give me a little bit about, that, what it's like inside, and how that relates to this virus right now and the threats that everyone inside is facing.
We need to be honest, and we need to identify people who cause trouble and like who are trash. There's a lot of trash behavior out here. And I think that far too often as Black people, because we're used to it, it's kind of like, but I addressed it, you know what I mean? And other people saw, and so they know, like, oh my goodness, this is what you have to deal with. Yes, all the time, in many different instances and iterances. And so I think it behooves all of us, Black, white, whoever, to identify bad behavior. We need to call it out, right? In the same way that we identify bad behavior as it relates to Me Too. And you know what I mean? Like a multitude of issues. Let's do it here.
Okay, so is this kind of how you normally do it? You give them a call and just leave the deliveries at a distance?
Yeah, so we try to do it as contactless as possible. So I try to call them and let them know that their stuff is there. So.
Hello, so we have a delivery for you guys.
We do.
We've got a Shopping Angels delivery. And I have a surprise for you as well. So you know how we were talking about Captain Marvel and how, Al mentioned it was his hero growing up and everything?
Oh, wait.
No worries. So your sponsor today is actually Brie Larson, who plays Captain Marvel in the movies. So she wanted to say hello to you.
Hi,
And say a few
Brie.
words.
Is that for real?
Yeah,
Yes,
that's her.
I hope so. That was one of my heroes.
No
Way back
way. Just knowing that being with yourself, being here in your own space is the best thing that you can do for the planet and for humanity at this time. And then outside of that, it's like getting back to basics. That's been the simplest thing for me, is like staring out my window, looking at the birds. I got a bird feeder, and it's like, it's amazing. I got baby doves. Like, there's just so much that I feel like I can be grateful for. And then the thing about that is if I'm continuing to take care of myself and be at a a solid baseline, then when those opportunities come where I need to step up, I'm ready. I haven't burnt myself out being stressed out. I'm not confused. I'm level-headed, and I'm ready. I'm ready to be there.
Yes to all of that.
With pimples on my face, but still, I'm ready.
So that's how she uses her privilege. She's actually talking about issues that matter. It's not about her, it's about her concerns. And you may say, okay, but she's talking about herself in those clips that you selected. Well, I had to struggle to find clips of her talking because she's not talking about herself most of the time. Most of the time she's listening to whoever she's sharing the microphone with. So let's see what these guys are doing with their privileges. Shall we? They claim that they are common people that are very concerned on how the regular Joes are being oppressed by these spoiled boys and girls from Hollywood. Shame on them. Let's see how they spend their time. Shall we? Alright, let's take a look. This is the quartering, an infamous place. Basically, trash, 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 crap, crap. There is nothing human here. It's just sensationalistic crap for whoever wants to actually watch this. These people are so very manipulative. Look at their channels. There you can see a very fine example of positive, sensible, and objective handling of issues. Their concern for the society that is really, really moving. I'm moved of seeing such sensible people. One understands why they feel so offended by Brie. Many of these channels reportedly make big cash out of feeding hate to Brie Larson. But again, it does not stop there. The main problem are her political views on inclusion, and it's not amazing that this time of COVID-19, unemployment, economic recession, racism, these people are thinking on Brie. When these people are so very manipulative, they accuse others of intolerant and fake when they are intolerant and fake. They raise a flag of humble people, humble YouTubers, when unlike the privileged Brie, they use their large platforms only for themselves. Their channels are dedicated to toxicity and ill nature. And when confronted, they claim they are just a guy with an opinion. They play a harassing game, but when they are asked to be accountable, they are victims. These are narcissistic, insincere, manipulative people at the extreme. And yet, these are the ones that want to tell you how self-absorbed and phony Brie is. And of course, this is part of the irony. Because the one speaking of such matter, of the common people, is Brie, in her Instagram transmissions. She handles how to help the homeless in the pandemic, how affects inmates in jails, how to help the elders and the vulnerable ones, about racism and unemployment. She's talking about what matters. She is not talking about herself. The ones talking about Brie are her enemies, her critics.
Every right and every opportunity to honestly do that, but pretending to be something you're not is something that people can see through in an instant.
Yeah, and we know that about you.
Comments and likes here.
Now let's see this clown. This guy is like ridiculous. Actually, in this publication, he says mostly nothing. He's just making fun of all these negative comments in Brie's channel and all the turns down and everything. That of course he's feeding these people to behave like that. Of course he will never admit it because it's a coward, right? Something that he's never said is why people are reacting like that. Brie really did something to offend people.
Number of likes and dislikes will be hidden soon. Haven't read a single positive comment so far. How come the likes to dislike ratio is still 2-to-1? After scrolling through the comments, I've come to the conclusion this comment section will be turned off.
Do you feel like
Okay, let's see how offensive the content is.
YouTube is a place for counterculture, for people that feel different?
I think totally, yeah. I mean, I think that was kind of the genesis of the platform, are all of these, I guess, like outcasts in a way. They found a community that they didn't have in real life. It was super validating to see people that were semi-like me existing in an artistic space, but also a queer space. In a small town in the Midwest, I didn't see that, so to see it digitally was like, oh, it can be okay. I am represented somewhere.
In later videos.
So super offensive content in Brie's channel. I mean, it's shocking. You should be bitching about Star Wars, Brie, about how the social justice warriors are getting control of cultural content, and not about human things. You know, that offends people. Now, this guy is going to imply that Brie is hypocritical because he claims that she only invites people who agree with her views of the world, like if this guy ever does anything different than that.
Inclusive content, that means include everyone we agree with politically and shut out everyone we disagree with. That I would probably agree with.
Let's see how she handles this matter.
People without superpowers save the world.
Being a good listener is an awesome human superpower. Being kind is an awesome superpower. Empathizing, being able to see somebody else's perspective. And then there's like the big one, which is being comfortable with yourself and saying it's okay to be me no matter how I am.
Just be yourself and that's the best.
Right?
Toxic content of Brie Larson and very intolerant. She's teaching how to be very intolerant. She should be very ashamed of herself, right? Now, what comes here is hilarious because this guy, let's see how this guy actually reacts when confronted with something he does not agree with. It's incredible.
You know, Brie Larson's getting so many dislikes on YouTube, and here's why. Brie Larson is one of the most famous actresses, and she's better known for her role in Captain America. The actress is very famous among everyone, and recently a new controversy arose for her. Fans are really sad for her. They want to know the full details of the whole matter. This is just like written by a bot.
What's wrong with you?
It doesn't actually say anything.
Really?
The director Kevin earlier stated that Captain America will now be the most powerful character. Again, that's what? This is fake. This is just a fake article.
You are the fake one, man. It's very clear.
Shally? This seems like it's auto-generated content. But Brie Larson kicked her boyfriend out, though, over Super Mario Galaxy.
And I think the most important thing...
Okay, so the main impulse for this matter is political and mercenary, not creative or human. They represent right-wing agendas that feel threatened by Brie and Captain Marvel, and they want to make them fall before they go too far. Until now, they have failed miserably. Think on Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner. They try so hard only to fail. Brie always wins. So I don't think it's going to be any different this time, but the fight is going to be rough, and we are here to support her. By the way, I don't think she should address this subject anytime soon. I think she should let very clear who is the toxic one in this discussion. She should focus on positive things that are her specialty and let the toxic debate to her haters. People soon will notice who is who in this discussion.
To remember is that you're lovely, and if you get any weird feedback, just know it's an opportunity for growth, and I believe in you. And I'm really excited to watch this channel.
But I'm open to your thoughts as well. So feel free to comment if you have ideas. I will listen to them within reason. Stick around for great content.
I'm probably not ever going to say like or subscribe because I believe in free will and it's your choice to do as you please, and me saying something shouldn't change anything about what it is that you're doing. Isn't that how free will works? I'll probably watch a YouTube video on that to figure it out. But regardless, thanks for checking out my channel. Do whatever you want. Live your life. I hope you're happy in your body. Much love to you. And see you around.
Okay, we're going to continue with our contribution on this page, sharing with everybody all things Brie. But we want to know, what do you think we as fans could do to help her? Please share in the comments below. This was Joe Cool for Brie Larson Worldwide. Stay safe.